Lady.
Come here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Red pen.
I call this meeting, which is not going to be nothing but gaseous, of our late married Toastmaster Club 6440 to order. Our club mission is to provide a supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Before we proceed with the meeting, please switch off your cell phones or set them on silent mode. I would like to ask everyone to be standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. We will now welcome our Toastmaster, Stephany B. Byrne. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Sergeant at Arms. Morning, Lake Mary.
Good
morning.
First thing I'm going to do is ask everyone to put their agenda in front of them. Take out your pens. We have a couple of corrections.
Oh, no.
One, I'll let the subject tell us. For timer, we're going to put in Abdel. All right. And for odd counter, Carrie Bird, do a double do. For speaker 3, from the advanced manual, speaking to inform, the project is changed from 2 to 1. Speak more. The objectives, I will briefly tell you when I call them up to speak. And I think that is that all the changes? Everyone else is present and accounted for? Oh, no.
This is
That's it. Okay. Our theme for the meeting,
This is 3. Didn't come out good.
Father's Day. Yeah. One of the most awaited holidays in the whole world, almost started in the United States around 1914. It is celebrated throughout the world. It is the 4th or the 5th. There's some debate going on. The most notable card-buying day, according to Hallmark. Okay. It's some debate whether it's Easter or Father's Day. It seems like Father's Day is starting to beat out Easter. Who knows what the #1 day is?
Christmas.
Of course. No, not Mother's Day, Christmas.
Oh.
Mother's Day, believe it or not, is only #3.
Wow.
Guess what beat out Mother's Day?
Valentine's Day.
Exactly, exactly.
That doesn't seem right.
Get a lot better
Well,
times.
people love their mothers, so.
You can't have the Mother's Day without the Valentine's Day.
That's a good point.
That's right.
Okay, we've got a full agenda today with 3 dynamite speakers, an action-packed agenda, so I'm going to go right into our functionaries. They're going to briefly tell us what they're going to do for us today, starting with our grammarian, Carrie Bird.
The fundamental role of the grammarian is to help members express themselves clearly and concisely. The grammarian has 2 basic responsibilities. First, to introduce new words to members, and second, to comment on exceptional and improper use of the English language during the course of the meeting. Our word of the day today is sagacious. It's an adjective, and it means having or showing acute mental discernment, a keen practical sense, shrewd, such as a sagacious lawyer.
A missing member of the lineup. Put him over here. You get to sit next to the president. That'll teach you. Okay. Abel is our guest timer, and tell us what you're going to do for us today, Abel.
Good
morning, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmaster, honored guests. The role of the timer is very important because we assist every Toastmaster in keeping the meeting in schedule, and also each segment of this meeting is timed. For example, every speaker, if they have, for example, the first speaker has 5 to 7 minutes, so at 5 minutes, I will raise this green card to let them know that they're within the time frame that they need to start wrapping up. Yellow will be at 6 minutes, and then red will be at 7 minutes. So the idea here, the goal will be to not hit this mark. Okay? Table topics is one of the functions that we also do, one of the sections where we have 1 minute. So at 30 seconds, you'll see the green card. At 45 seconds, you'll see the yellow card, and then at 1 minute, you'll see the red card. So by that time, it should be over. Okay? Thank you.
And the evaluations too.
Oh, evaluations also are timed. Yes, evaluations are 3 minutes, so at 2 minutes, I'll do the green card. 2.5 minutes will be the yellow, and at 3 minutes, the red card.
Thank you. I will wait for you. And once again, odd counter, Carrie Bird.
The purpose of the off counter is to note words and sounds used as a crutch or a pregnant pause by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections such as and, well, but, so, you know. Sounds may be or. I will also be listening for double clutches such as I, or this means, and all infractions are license.
Yay. Carrie's getting double duty because we have to test her recording skills. She's going to be our secretary. So it was all part of the program. Okay. I'm going to go right into our first speaker. And that is going to be it's what you don't say that counts. Alexandra states that she speaks 3 languages, Spanish, English, and body. We have heard of body language, but how many of who's laughing that loud? We have heard of body language, but how many of us are conscious of the language we give off with actions and gestures? Delivering Project 8 from the Competent Communication Manual, Getting Comfortable with Visual Aids. Let's welcome Alexandra. It's what you don't say that counts.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. It is what you don't say that counts. You know what? When I think about this topic, I naturally have some questions. For instance, if I don't say anything, what is going to count? I'm not saying anything. Well, with this said, did you know that, and I learned this with my investigation, putting together this topic, that 55% of our communication is nonverbal? Wow, that's a big number. Do you know also that you can see how a person is feeling or what a person is thinking just paying attention to their body language? Well, today I'm going to teach you about 7 body language mistakes that can make or break your relationships, business or personal. The first body language mistake is posture. Imagine that you're in a work interview and you're sitting like that. Do you think you're going to get the job? I don't think so. It's showing that you're lazy, that you don't care. On the other side, if you go too leaning forward, it's showing that you are too aggressive. So a good posture is very important, especially if you're in business matter. So the recommendation is sit down straight. Imagine that you have a string going through your body and it's pulling you up, and you're sitting straight and relaxed during your interview or your business meeting. Let's move on to our second posture or body language mistake. What do you think about that one? I'm open to you guys, or I'm closed. I'm defensive myself, and showing resistance of whatever message you're giving me. So I clearly encourage not to use this in business interview meetings, because it's important that you show openness to the other person. So keep your hands and your arms to the side and show openness. I don't think they're communicating very well. Our next body language mistake is fidgeting. Imagine all this nervousness and you are biting your fingernails. Some people have the tendency to shake their coins or keys. It's fidgeting. So what is happening here, the other person is keeping all the focus on the attention in your nervousness. That's where you bring in the attention. On the other side, doesn't show that you are very much secure. And at the end of the day, who wants to shake somebody's hand that has been biting their fingernails? So that's more on the hygiene side. But be calm, breathe, and be confident. Our next body language mistake is, I'm not looking at you, doesn't matter what you're telling me, it's not important. I'd rather see around people walking or looking at the floor or looking to the sky, but what is the message here? She doesn't care.
Indifference.
Is indifferent. Yes, she's not interested. Why? This is very important, eye contact. When you are talking with someone, especially like I said before in business meeting, it's important that you maintain a good eye contact. Now, on the other side, don't stare at the person, that would be creepy. And you're not closing your eyes. No, that's just too creepy. Relax. The recommendation is to keep your, what we call an extra eyelash. Maintain the eye contact for an extra eyelash. Show that you are interested by looking at the other person's eye when you're talking. Our next body language mistake is, oh, that's my favorite. Who have been in business meeting and you meeting people and you shaking hand and you get the dead fish hand? Really? Yeah, it's dead. Can that hand be alive? No. Seriously. A good recommendation for a good handshake is palm to palm, thumbs up, and firm. Don't break the other person's hand. Firm. But please avoid the dead fish handshaking. My next one is my favorite as well. When you're talking to people, acknowledge, smile, use your eyebrows, move your face in a natural way. That makes the other person feel like, yes, you're paying attention, you're acknowledging me, I'm important to you. On the other side, don't exaggerate and have the perma smile. That's not sincere, that's totally fake. But be natural, smile, acknowledge the other person. This is my last body language mistake, and that is cutting up the other person with those little fingers knife that you have and you're pointing and you, that is too aggressive. Do not use your fingers to point to the other person. When dealing with the business world, it is important that you pay attention to your body language. Your body language can definitely make or it can break relationships. And it may have a significant impact on your success. So always remember, it is what you don't say that counts. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Alexandra. Can we have 1 minute at timer? Timer.
Timer.
Put a minute on the clock.
And we have a minute on the clock for evaluations. Everyone fill out your evaluation forms. I hope there are enough around.
How she spoke.
Oh, no.
Fill out your evaluation sheet.
Yeah, very simple. You have 1 minute to fill that out. Okay. So this way, everybody, she gets it. Everybody's done. See how she can
Good. 15 seconds left.
That's good.
Your time's up.
What traditionally is the top Father's Day gift? Anybody? Yeah. Boring time, right? If you're lucky, you might get golf clubs. Speaker number 2. Bud McKechnie is an 80-year-old English professor at Seminole State College. He resumed teaching just 18 months ago, 42 years after leaving 2 simultaneous teaching positions in 2 different Chicago colleges, coming to Florida to start 2 companies. In resuming his teaching career after 4 decades, Bud was aware that the first 4 semesters of teaching normally require 4 to 5 hours preparation hours for each classroom hour. In May, after 3 semesters of this extreme prep, Bud was fatigued, spiritually, culturally, and emotionally. He's going to come and tell you how he overcame that fatigue. Doing project number 2 from the Competent Communication Manual, Organizing Your Speech. Here's Bud doing 3,500 miles on, again, two wheels.
No trip description should be without at least a few photos. After you look at each of the photos, every 4th person has 10 photos there. After you take a look at those photos, pass them one by one to the person on your right so they can get a chance to look at them. So just when you're finished with one, pass it to the next person on your right. And you'll get an idea of what I saw on this trip. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, especially honored guests. When was the last time that your battery ran down? Do you recall the last time that your car ran out of gas? When you're cutting something, how often do you stop to sharpen the blade? I'm using all of these terms figuratively, not literally. In May, after teaching 50 college students for 2 arduous semesters, I discovered that my spiritual battery and my cultural gas tank were both running on empty. And my sharpness for emotionally communicating with nature had become quite dull. I had the need to proceed to feed my needs, spiritual, cultural, and emotional. The solution was very simple. I decided to take a 3,500-mile round trip by motorcycle to Canada. I first fed my spiritual need by spending 3 days in the Benedictine Byzantine monastery just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the sagacious abbot was my former college roommate, back when we both were young monks studying philosophy together in Kansas. Immediately upon entering that monastery, I felt the spiritual renewal process beginning. All the monks of most Benedictine monasteries spend their lives praising God. For me, this monastery is the most peaceful atmosphere in the entire country. And spiritually, it's the most refreshing. After 3 days, my spiritual batteries were now fully recharged. The next stop was Canada. This one fulfilled my cultural needs when I attended the Stratford, Ontario Shakespearean Festival. For 3 days, I watched 5 plays performed by a large group of highly talented actors and dramatists. King Lear and Midsummer Night's Dream infused my mind and my feelings with great cultural thoughts as Shakespeare's immortal words thundered through my ears and resonated in my brain and in my soul. My cultural gas tank was now filled to overflowing. The third major step in this trilogy of therapeutic treatments was an extensive communing with nature as my Quebec fly fishing friend Luke guided us through several Vermont lakes, rivers, and streams to fly fish for 3 solid days. Vermont and Quebec are just absolutely beautiful in the springtime, and my spirit soared higher than any of the surrounding mountains. As we walked in the footsteps of crafty creatures, such as beavers whose stick and mud dams and houses punctuated the natural landscape of the virgin forests. We caught many fish on our fly rods, while my awareness of God's and nature's beauty grew daily much sharper and more acute. My emotional sharpness for communing with nature was now completely resharpened. With my entire spirit renewed, rejuvenated, and renovated, I could now fully enjoy the rest of the trip, tooling through the countryside, down along the East Coast, visiting 3 of my 6 children, and 7 of my 17 grandchildren.
Big fan.
I was now prepared spiritually, culturally, and emotionally to spend quality time with 3 of my adult children. In Connecticut, I boated and fished on Long Island Sound with my oldest son, Dennis. Then we celebrated the 21st birthday of my oldest grandson at 10 o'clock one night. Next day, I drove a rental car to Kennedy Airport to pick up my daughter and another twin grandson, both just arriving home from a long tour in Africa. After a few more parties with my son's friends, I set out for my next official stop, Virginia Beach, to visit my youngest son, Ron, a cardiologist who just recently bought a beautiful home on Chesapeake Bay. We spent the next few days fishing and tubing around the Chesapeake and frolicking with 3 more very delightful grandchildren. Oh, I almost forgot. Another need arose just toward the end of my trip. On my last scheduled day in Virginia Beach, an unforeseen problem arose. I developed an infection which caused pain and discomfort. The second luckiest part of my entire trip was to become ill in the very home of a doctor certified in both cardiology and internal medicine. That's my son, Ron. With the help of a few of his medical friends, Dr. Ron had me almost completely cured in just a couple of days. I then hopped on a gold wing motorcycle, which you have a picture of there, I hope you saw it, and drove home in 2 easy riding days. All 4 areas were now in top shape: spiritual, cultural, emotional, and physical. The luckiest part of the trip was that, contrary to my usual luck, it never rained on any motorcycle traveling day. It was the first time that ever happened in 21 years of motorcycling to Canada from Florida. The best part of the trip was my arrival home fully refreshed, renewed, rejoicing, and recovered and ready for another semester of teaching. Try it, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and Madam Toastmaster. You'll love it.
I'm so glad they're going to ride home safely. Can we have 1 minute on the clock at that, please? We missed you while you were gone, but
I missed you too.
we waited for those stories. Please do fill out your evaluations, and if but beautiful pictures still going around the room, you gotta see these fishy heads there.
Seconds left. Time's up.
Our final speaker will be Stephen Morgan. He's speaking from the Speaking to Inform manual. And he's changed his project to number 1. And I'm going to ask his evaluator, Suzanna.
The one with their full mouth?
Yes, can you, can you quickly tell us what the objectives of that project is?
While Stephen is waiting.
Okay, if I have a stomachache later, I'm calling you. His objectives are to select new and useful information for presentation to the audience, to organize the information for easy understandability and relatability, and retention, and to present the information in a way that will help motivate the audience to learn.
I mean, we've got to understand and remember it.
You got
Okay.
on your toes, people.
That's because in 2 weeks, Stephen will be relinquishing the office of president to take on the mantle of vice president of education. However, he intends to continue pushing our club into experimenting with novel technologies and a new way of doing things. Here to present his plans for using the Easy Speak website for our scheduling and record keeping during the next year, please welcome Advanced Toastmaster Gold, Stephen Morgan. I'm sorry.
For several years, our club has been using the Club Scheduler program. Jorge is quite used to it by this point after 2 years of having to struggle with it. There are a few limitations to this program. Amongst those is that it runs on a particular computer, keeps all of its data locally, which means no one else is able to get to it. And as we've discovered, it also means if your computer goes down, you lose your data. There are various ways of trying to accommodate for this, and there are other programs available out there. The one that my other club, since I'm a member of 2, has started using is the Easy Speak website, easy-speak.org. Jorge has learned a bit of this when he went to training a little bit ago, as I had learned as well. And he had poked around with it, actually had set up our club's account. I've taken that and put everyone into there. By now, all the members will have at least gotten an email message saying, here's your name, here's your password. And if you weren't paying attention, you can ask later about getting the password. A few of you have already started poking around. What this site allows us to do primarily is the scheduling. That's what most use it for, and what you can discover is you go into the site, each meeting can be configured, how many speakers, what are the different roles, who's going to be doing those particular roles. That's just the simple and easy part. It goes a little bit further, because when you say you're speaking, you get to put in your manual, you get to put in your project, your title, you get to put in your introduction. When the Toastmaster goes to prepare, they can just pull your introduction from the website. When you're assigned a role, you can go in there and click and say, I'm going to be there. And when you come back later, you will have the list of which projects, which manuals, and the titles of those speeches. So when it's time to turn in your application to TI for your credit, the information is sitting there on the website, which you can, by the way, get to 24/7. It's not on any one person's computer. It's sitting out there on the server where EasySpeak is keeping the information for us. That is one of the biggest advantages that this particular program has over Club Scheduler. Now, what can become of that taking it further? Since it is available and can plan further out ahead, you can actually say, as Alexandra has already started to do, go in out and say, I want to do my next speech, I want this particular date. This is the project I'm going to do. And plan ahead for those who like planning ahead. When you are actually taking a role as one of the other spots in the meeting here, you're going to get your competent leader manual filled out. Then you can actually keep track of those accomplishments as well on the site. So when you've been an evaluator, I'm going to do this particular competent leader project for that one, timer, counter, table topic speaker, you can click all of these off. It will help you follow the competent leader roles as well. Something Club Scheduler cannot do because it predates the competent leadership manual. The advantages that we gain from this is that all of us are able to coordinate. You can have more than one person administering, so it doesn't just have to be VP Education. Multiple people can also administer. The Toastmaster for a particular meeting can be given full control of the agenda, which means rearranging or changing roles or anything that you desire for that one. Now you have a history. You have the ability to expand it further. And there are other functionalities available. Some of the guests have probably already noticed I've tried putting their information in, put in their email, their name, which generally means they get a message saying, hey, you got an account now. But we can actually track our attendance of the members, of the guests. If somebody visits from another club that's using EasySpeak, it will be able to track whatever they do here for their other club. For me, and as a member of 2 clubs, with both of my clubs using EasySpeak, I can be tracked now across both clubs. This was something no one was able to do for me before, because at the point when I was doing 4 clubs at a time, if somebody comes up, oh, where are you in your manuals? I'd say, forget it, I'm going to do it because there's no way you can. And for me as well, where I'm actually at the moment in the middle of like 6 different manuals, because when I get up to speak, it's at this point I just choose which project is most appropriate, as opposed to which manual I'm in at that moment. Therefore, I end up starting manuals left and right as I've discovered I'm going to do this one now. Wait, I've already done that project. Guess I'm starting the manual again. With that capability in there, it eases the ability of Vice President Education schedule, gives everyone the ability to set their own pace. You can go in there and set what goal you have. You want to complete this by a particular date, you have the option to go do that in there. And when it comes time for you to decide what you want to do, well, we can pass around the simple approach of, here, go ahead and pass around and put in what role you would like to do over the weeks in July. But if you don't write it down, you can just go to the website later and put that request in then, which will work just fine. Now, since I'm going to be Vice President of Education in a couple weeks, you're going to get a big dose of it. But the fun of it is that it'll make my part easier. You all have greater transparency. And if you have the willingness to be more proactive, it'll help you reach those goals more effectively by reducing the effort to be coordinating and increasing your ability to understand where you're going. With that in mind, I hope everyone is going to go by, find that old email if you can, or ask for the password reset if you need it, easy-speak.org. Our club has its account. You have already been registered. The members certainly have been. You can go in and start making your requests now. I've already started putting in information from the past month as we've been completing our meetings, so there's already some information in there now. At some point, maybe I can try and pull the info out of Club Scheduler to populate the history, which would be even more effective. That's going to be a bit more of an effort to see. Hopefully you're all going to be as interested, but at least as engaged to make this as effective for all of us. Because I've already seen the experience from my other club. It can do some pretty good things. And it's been quite effective. So, hope you're going to pull up that website. You're going to hear a whole lot more. Madam Toastmaster.
We have one moment. Thank you, Stephen, for bringing us into the 21st century. Now, if you could show me how to work my computer, I'll be so happy. One moment. You got it.
Few seconds left.
Okay. Right, hurry up. Okay.
Time's up.
Next up, what we've all been waiting for, fearing and dreading and happily awaiting. We don't have much time, but James is gonna come up here and take it away. Take it away.
Madam Toastmaster, honored guests, and for our guests, the purpose of table topics is to keep us on our toes, to see how we respond and react when we have a question thrown at us from left field. Looks like, to keep us on time, I'll have about one question. They say that a man inherits the temperament and I can't remember the other word, but the temperament and other things from his father, and that the woman inherits some of the physical traits from his father. So, Jorge, what did you inherit from your father?
Table topic master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. I would have to say what I inherited from my father. Well, first of all, people say that we look very similar, even though I think I love him to death, but he's a little overweight, so completely similar. But I see some similarities, but I think I got a lot from him from my character side. He's an extremely hardworking, and dedicated, very supportive, and I think I saw all of that growing up, and those were things that I was able to emulate and pick up through him. As I was growing up, I think he was a fantastic father. I wouldn't have asked for anybody else to be my father. I love him to death. So there's lots of things that I picked up from him. Other things I picked up from him I don't even notice, but even different mannerisms, like the way I stand. Sometimes I put my hands behind my back, and it was funny. There was a picture the other day, and we were all putting our hands behind our back. I didn't notice. Me and my brothers were all copying this from my father, and different words I say and things that other people would note that you say that just like your father. So those are some things that I've picked up from him.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Okay.
The rest of you escape, and the guests escape. Next week, come back next week.
Okay.
Now for our educational portion, we're going to have our Master Evaluator, Gus D, come and head that up for us.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. This is the educational portion of our meeting where we're going to find out how sagacious our speakers were, and from the speeches they have given. So we're going to have a time where the speakers are evaluated, they are told what they did very well, what are the things they can continue to improve on, and then they'll be given a high commendation of what they did super and to continue to do that. To start that off, we're going to start with the evaluators for this meeting today. Evaluating speaker number 1, Alexandra, will be Toastmaster Ernst. Please welcome him.
And Alexandra, that was a great speech. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and honored guests, and especially thank you to you for giving such a great speech and putting such a tremendous amount of work into the presentation, because you just cannot Google this on the internet and all of a sudden 27 slides come popping out. Alexandra's objective was to speak from the Competent Communicators Manual, lesson number 8, get comfortable with visual aids. And I must say, I'm not the world's best evaluator, that she did an absolutely outstanding job. The slides, 7 of them were following one after each other and gave exactly the answers which we are looking for the speech, what nonverbal communication does and what it doesn't do. Let me go through the objectives according to the manual. Were the visual aids appropriate? Yes, they were. Did each visual aid help you to understand, remember the speaker's point? What it did. Was it clearly visible without any question? We saw the presentations here. If the computer used computer-based visual aids or overhead transparency, was each easily read and well designed? I don't think you use computer stuff, but they were easily identifiable and well designed. Did the speaker use visual aids smoothly? I without any question she did. How clear was the speaker's purpose? Very clear to me. Did they use body language? I'm sure she used all kinds of different body language there as well. Did the speaker word choice effective and appropriate? Yes, the word. Was the speech well researched without any questions? The only thing I would have maybe suggested, maybe use a little bit more vocal variety, but for some it may be appropriate, some it may not, but I think that would have brought it home as well. What did you like about the speech? I think the last example of Obama speaking or not visually speaking to Putin says it really all, because of course they're not talking, the body language says it, and therefore we have very little communication. Mr. Toastmaster, thank you very much for a great job.
Thank you. So I can double tax it, Toastmaster and Evaluator, General Evaluator. Thank you, Ernst, and we move on to our next Evaluator for this speak this morning. Evaluating the traveler, Bob will be, go ahead, please welcome God Frederick. The game finished at 8 o'clock yesterday, so
Yeah, I was here. I'm awake from watching the USA game last night. Good morning, everybody, again. Today I'm here to evaluate Bud. Are you really 80 years old?
I could read about it too. Yeah. I think I'm only 19.
Okay. You act like it. Your speech, this is your project today was organizing your speech. I definitely think you had really good organization to the speech. You went through, you had a clear goal in mind, which was that everybody needs to recharge their batteries, and you named a couple of different areas where people could recharge. You named a spiritual side, a cultural side, a natural side, and at the end you also named a physical side, and you covered that all chronologically as well. So good organization to the speech, not only chronologically, but you also had, and you spoke about one of those different aspects of it and then moved on to another one. So I think you had good organization throughout. Handing out the pictures at the start kind of distracted me personally a little bit. Once I finished looking at the pictures, I was completely involved because you draw people in very well with the way that you speak, and you're very entertaining, and you have really good hand movements and everything. So you draw people in, but I did come in a little bit late because I was looking at the pictures. So maybe hold off the visual aids till the end. But I did like the visual aids. I liked all the pictures involved. I liked the monk story. And it's hard to believe to me that you were a monk at one point. But I liked the way it was all set up. I don't think it was a very sagacious decision maybe to do that trek on a motorcycle. To me, at least, I think that's not very sagacious. That's crazy. But I'm glad it was definitely we were all very interested in knowing what you did during that time, and I'm glad that you were able to share that with us in this project and in such a confident, efficient, entertaining manner. So I look forward to hearing more and hearing more details about the trip that you had. Thank you.
One of the things I always look forward to in the evaluation is when you have two sagacious people who've been in Toastmasters. So you have Stephen Morgan to be evaluated. The last time was evaluated by someone who just started to be in the club, Jeff Campana, and he struggled with that. But really, to evaluate Stephen, we have the right person to do that. That's Suzanna.
Thank you, Master Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and of course the sagacious Stephen Morgan. You definitely proved your sagatiality. I'm pretty sure that's a word. I'm making things up now, but you proved that with your speech. You always bring us some great content, especially when you talk about Toastmasters and how we can benefit from the club and do better within it. There are a few things that you did very well in the speech that I enjoyed. First, with your pacing. You have a great pacing for teaching. It's a very specific way to pace when you are trying to help people retain the information. You want to go a little slower, give people time to keep up. You also used why. Why is this going to be good? Why do we care? I would have liked, though, a little bit more why for us. You told us a lot about the why for the officers, which is great, but most of us in the room are not the officers. And having it on our computer is not a concern. Making it easier to track is not our concern as much. What our concern is more about emphasize what is going to change for us. You have some of that, but I would love the energy to change, the persuasion to change a little, the vocal variety to change, so that we really got what's in it for us. Because we're human and we're a little selfish and really want to. What about me? At least I am. Especially when you want people to change. That's when you really need to up the persuasion, this is how your life is going to be great from it. In the conclusion, that's the part where I noticed it the most also. Your conclusion was good. You had, I hope you participate and begin using this. I would have loved to hear, this is going to change your Toastmasters experience because of X and Y. Start using this today and you will grow and appreciate it and make that powerful and wrap up that what's in it for me. Really call us to action by focusing more on us. But your personal story about the manuals, which I completely understand, pulling from so many manuals, and that helped us to visualize how it could be difficult to track across clubs and that this is going to bring it together. So I enjoyed the personal story part of it as well, just to relate with us. But whenever you speak, you add value to the club. With what you do behind the scenes, you also add so much value to the club, and this is just further proof. Thank you so much for that.
Great presentation.
Great evaluation and great learning opportunity. I hope that when we fill those information in, we hear from the evaluators, it helps us to step up. At this time, I would like to have the Functionaries report, and we're going to start with Abner, who filled in that position to give us the reports on the timing for the speakers, evaluators, and table topic. Abner, please.
Good morning, Dinner Evaluator and fellow Toastmasters. Today we did pretty good on the timing, except for two speakers who went a little over. So starting with the speakers, Alexandra, you did 6 minutes and 50 seconds, so that was exactly within limit. But you went over 34 seconds, so it was 8 and 34. Yeah, and Stephen, you went a little after with 11 seconds, so 7 with 11. Now on the evaluation side, they all were within limit. So Ernst, you were 2 minutes 39 seconds. Jorge, you were 2 minutes 15 seconds, and Suzanna 2 minutes and 34 seconds. That's a great job.
Thank you. I think as long as I've been in the club, Carrie is one of the sagacious people here. I don't know how you're going to multitask on the dual row, but could you just give us both reports back to back?
Let's start with the grammarian. As far as the word of the day, Suzanna, Bud, Gus, Jorge, and Alexandra, although I'm not quite sure you used it right. But that's what I have. And then as far as grammatically, everything seems to be, that was bad. I do like Bud's use of spiritual battery and cultural guessing. Alexandra, the don't stare, that's creepy, and the dead fish hand. And as far as the counter, Stephany had 1 pause, Abno 1 Alexandra 1 so, 1 and, 1 pause, and 2 double clutches. Let's see, Bud, 2 pauses, 1 double clutch. Stephen 1 so, 1 and. James 1 so, 1 and, 2 tongue clicks, 1 double clutch. Gus 1 you know. Ernst 5 ahs, 2 ums. Susanna 1 1 2 you knows, 1 but. Jorge 2 ahs, 2 ums, 1 double clutch.
Stephanie's calling our attention to that. For those in the club and our guests, usually after you hear this educational portion, you hear the evaluation and the reports from the technical table. The next important thing we do is the Functionaries report and the meeting evaluation. To evaluate the room, our Sergeant at Arms did a great job. She's always here early, and the room was set up. Even she had some adjustments to make. Stephen was here to help us, so thank you very much on keeping the meeting on time. You're doing a great job. I'm looking forward to working together with you. The Toastmaster for the day, she started off by, she warned us last week what would be the theme for today, Father's Day. Hope you all had a great Father's Day. So nobody has a tie here except Stephen, so maybe it was that Father's Day. So she was able to really give us a good hold there. Thank you for making the adjustments in the schedule. You all saw the email all week, right? Stephany kept telling us last week, I need everything before I go out of town. So Abner, I got it right? Abner? Thank you for stepping in as timer. Last night I was trying to fill in as timer, but thank you. And Carrie also, thank you for double duty there. And James was saved by the bell. Carrie had said, James is not here. And just came and you sat between the president and the Toastmaster for the day. So thank you for the schedule. Speakers, I like the way Stephany did improvise there when she wanted to give the objectives of Stephen's speech, because it was not written down. He changed it, and so she was able to ask Suzanna to read that to us. So that went very well. We're very pleased that we have guests coming in, and did you see the balance in the room? All the guests sat on one side except our sister there. Stephen, we acknowledge that in a few minutes. Looking forward to next week. our next meeting. I'll now call upon our club president for club business. Let's welcome Stephen Morgan.
Thank you, guys. We do like to ask our guests what you thought of the meeting. Since we're all about feedback, we'd love to hear about it. We'll start over here if you're willing to stand up and tell us what you thought.
My name is Ben. We're in Harlem again, and this is my second meeting. I thought it was another great experience. I did learn a lot from watching the speakers speak, and I look forward to possibly joining and participating in learning.
Hello everyone, my name is Joseph. I've been here twice before, so I kind of have the idea. And I thought today was really interesting. My Father's Day obviously was yesterday. And I learned a lot about the not speaking, and you can really give up a lot and say a lot about you without even saying a word. So I think I learned a lot today. It's really helpful. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Dale. I just said so I'm really impressed with everything so far, the structure and how everything flows. I'm really impressed with that, and the payment structure is really intriguing to me. This is my first meeting, so I think I have a lot of questions now, so I'm going to pick Gus's brain later on. Thanks,
Am I being evaluated? Good morning, my name is Al, and this has been a learning experience, and I've learned a lot just in this very short time, and enjoyed it very much.
You want to speak up now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Well, good morning again. Some of you might be surprised that I'm doing one of the functions today. Yes, but I was a Toastmaster back 14 years ago, and it's time to come back. That's why I'm here. I've been visiting this club. Very proud of what you're doing here. Definitely, this is a top club. Unfortunately, right now I have an offer on the table. As you know, some of you know, I'm in transition. So the College of Medicine of University of Central Florida has a position open, and they have offered it to me. However, we're right now in salary adjustment stage. So it looks like I have made all my my numbers, my decisions. I definitely want to take that job, and that's in Lake Nona. So that means that I will be a little far away. I might need to kind of relocate. So that's why I have not committed to this club. But as you know, I am very committed to Toastmasters, public speaking. In fact, yesterday I was doing a training, and I was recommending people, Toastmasters is something, because public speaking is not an sagacious art. It is something we all need. And today I have the honor of bringing another guest, Maribel Cuevas, who was part of one of my training sessions that I did as a volunteer for Christian Help, which is an organization in Castleberry. And I told Maribel, this will be an awesome opportunity for you to keep enhancing your skills and feel more comfortable, especially when in the interviewing and all that, as she's going through her job search process. So again, thank you so much for everything. Hopefully I'll be back. But if not, please know that I definitely have a high esteem in this club and look forward to joining Toastmasters soon.
Thank you. Hello, do you have anything?
My name is Mary Brown. I really enjoy being here today. It was very helpful, and I'm seeing to be part of the group. So, thank you.
Schedule for next week as listed. Toastmaster is Jeff. We have speakers listed as Diane, Carrie, and Gus. Carrie and Gus, are you up for speaking next week?
I'm here, yes.
Here?
Carrie?
Okay. Table Topics Masters listed as Martin. We had Mike listed as General Evaluator, but he's not going to be back yet. Evaluators, Jorge, myself, and Erica. I can do it. Jorge, Erica, you want to do it again, Jorge?
Sure.
You're scheduling it. So
You can't play
Stephany, you're the grammarian.
I'm sorry,
Toastmaster?
Yeah, Jeff may not be available, so. Who is Toastmaster?
Alexandra stepping up for that.
Thank you.
Stephany is Grammarian. Good for that. We got Pat is listed as timer, and looks like odd counter will be open. So anyone for general evaluator or odd counter?
I do comment.
Odd counter for Ernst. General evaluator, anyone?
Never got any email.
Something's wrong with his emails, and I had to text him.
Okay.
I'm getting read up, I'm getting emails, showing me read up, are you
But
coming?
not the club's ones.
But not the club.
Bud, will you do general evaluator next week?
Be pleased to.
Okay. That should cover what we need for there. For the incoming officers, Toastmasters Leadership Institute is scheduled Saturday, July 12th. So plan on that morning, early afternoon. So that our club can get the credit for there. Is there any other announcements?
You said it's in Castleberry, right?
It's at Cavalry Assembly
Winter Park.
in
Winter Park.
Winter Park.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
On I-4, right?
I'm right on
I'm
time.
Like Ford and Park.
Any other announcements then?
Someone mark the calendar for July 1st.
July 1st, our meeting on July 1st will be the meeting for July 1st in 2 weeks is going to be the changeover for the officers. And we'll be having the installation then and a couple other speeches, not planning on table topics and probably not evaluations. At least formal ones. We'll see how the agenda plays out, but that's the plan at this time. Be here because it'll be fine.
Really important.
Yeah.
Meeting, July 1st.
Acknowledging what we've done over the past year. Okay, if there's nothing more, then we shall be adjourned until next week. Thank you.
Bravo, Mr. Closure.